Hi guys, welcome back to our video again. So today we are trying to fix the headlight, and we're also deciding whether we should install the fog light. We disassemble the headlight because there's some issue. So when we were beaming, this side will only display low beam, and then this side can only display high beam. So we were trying to figure out what's wrong. It's a projector headlight, so we tested the solenoid, the shutter, basically both of them move. So we suspect it's the lens that is fogging up inside. So what we are trying to do now is to, I don't know how, but somehow to disassemble it and then clean the internal and see how. So I believe this part here is fogging or getting dirty, so it causes the light to diffuse instead of being focused. Although both light will light up, you can clearly see that the low beam hotspot is missing on this side, and then the high beam hotspot is missing on this side. So as you can see, there's a lot of patchwork here and there, so not too sure what was done previously. Probably they overloaded with a HID or some sort of other lens. So we will try to solder and reconnect it properly. So the other thing that we found out that is this connector is burnt, so we probably got to replace it. That's why there are two jumper wire here. Actually jumps from the main connector over here. So since we already took it out, so we got to tidy it. So we also disconnected these two cables. These are the accessories plug, two of them, just right underneath here. It's supposed to have a toolbox here, but it was missing. Okay, so probably we will buy a pigtail kind of connector and then connect it to the fog light, and also create a USB charger at the rear seat. Last but not least, also top up all the spare fuse, and we also accidentally broke 120 M1, so we gotta replace it. Okay, so in order to separate this, you can see it's glue up. So what we did was we used a hair dryer. So we use the hair dryer to heat up the edges to melt off the glue. Because the hair dryer couldn't do the heat evenly, so we will try using an oven to bake it out and see how it goes. So if 200 degree and then just 2-3 minutes, basically you can rip this off, but it's kind of hot, so just do remember to wear gloves. Remove the screw that is holding on to the reflector, so just take it out so we can polish or wash the lens inside. We can clearly see that there's a lot of sand inside, so probably we got to rinse it and then before we polish this lens. So we are here at St. Lim Tower. Because we couldn't find the same connector, so we replaced it with a new set, the male and the female. So what we did is we will cut off the connector and then repin it and then do it on both ends. Okay, so it's all done, all good. So this is how the projector looks like inside. So this is the push rod where your solenoid or the magnetic thing actually push the shutter. You will see this metal blade inside here, which is the shutter. If you activate your high beam, it actually moves up or down to open up high beam. Same thing here, as you can see. We will use this rubbing compound to remove all the scratches and dirt mark within the lens. You can see the lens are much brighter now and clearer. Of course, there are some defects that we cannot fully remove. This dust cap has actually a huge hole, so I guess probably because of this hole all the dirt went in. But we have epoxy, so overnight it hardens. This is pretty good to go. So we disassemble the whole projector headlight and then give it a thorough wash. So instead of using the Butyl Rubber Gum to stick back, so that's a hard item to find in a short notice. So we will replace it with a clear silicone adhesive. But of course we dig out all the residue as much as we can, but definitely there's still a lot inside on the side wall. And before we assemble everything back, we will spray paint it to remove all the oxidization and to cover up the epoxy grey. So we have done the paint job, looks good. And also install back the two projector. So now it's about time to seal them up. Okay, we will try to fill as much as we can and then we will close the lid. Okay, so something like that. And then we will put this lid back. Okay, we try to exert pressure and then clip everything back. Then we will try to wipe off this runoff before it dries. If we see runoff, means that we have applied good enough. If you don't see that, maybe you applied too little. Okay, so it's done. So we just leave it for an hour for it to cure up and then dry it up before we install it back to the bike. We also refitted the cable on the other end, but before we put into the housing, when we want to test that the arrangement are all correct. Okay, so we tested all the connection and everything is working, so it's about time to assemble them back. Okay, so the red and black is 13 from the 3-pin plug. So we created a makeshift circuit to the fog light. So right now we want to connect it and then to see whether the fog light works and our connection works before we order all the proper plug and then reconfigure it. Probably on the next video or some other video. Okay, so let us try. It's connected to the battery to turn on the switch. So it works good. And we will wait for all the proper connector and we will use the accessories connector to boost it up. So the sealant is more or less set, but we make a very rookie mistake. We forget to insert this harness in before we seal the whole thing. So now we have to insert the harness and then pull it out through the two outlet manually. So we cable tie here and then use the other end to fish it out. Something like that. Then we got to fish the high beam cable also. Okay, so after some effort, everything went in nicely. Reattach back everything. Okay, and then we are ready to plug it in and see how the beam, does it really improve? Okay, so everything is back connected. Remember to put back this O-ring onto your dust cap before you lock it in. So we bolt back all the screw, especially this two cap. It's very important. It's for the moist to escape but not the dirt to go in. Now we are inserting all this rubber grommet for the lens protector later on. So now we successfully connected everything back. So the moment of truth is to turn on the headlight and see is it really better and worth the effort. We have it. We need to do some adjustment because if you can see the left side, this is the left and this is the right, is actually on the same side. So if you do high beam, I guess it's the same thing. So they are all shining at the same spot, so we try to align it. So right now we have set the baseline, so all we need to do now is to bring this down and then to make them more or less balanced. But of course this is just a rough estimate. You still have to adjust it once you have your load there because the bike will sort of like sag up. The ultimate goal is you can see wide enough but not to blind someone. So that's all for this video. Alright guys, thank you for watching. See you on the next one. Bye bye.